Hey storytellers, it's Elizabeth here, and in this video I'm going to share my process for week 5 in my digital 8x10 project life book. So I am using some of the templates from my yearbook starter kit. It's available in my shop. I will have a link to it down below, and I'm going to use the full page spread. All right, so as you can see, I am working with the full template. So that means that I can see the left side of the page and the right side of the page. I prefer doing this as opposed to just working on one side at a time like this one. Mostly just because since most of my weeks have 2-page spreads, it's just easier for continuity and to make sure that things are evenly spread out across the spread just to work as one spread. So I'm gonna exit out of this one and I'm gonna go back to my full page template. So as you can see, we have a couple of options over here on the layers panel, and I'm going to take the time to go over some of these options right now. So as you can see, I have 2 options that are already checked. This one that says left page layout, and then this one that says right page layout, and that is what gives me these boxes on each side of my spread. So if I uncheck the left page layout, I have the option to add a bordered page on the left side, which as you can see has quite a bit of room between the image and the margin, which is these blue guidelines. Or I can choose the full page, and that will be the entire full page in my digital book. So it will be printed all the way to the edge of the paper when it gets printed. So for this one, I'm actually going to leave both of my sides as the pocket page style. You can also do that on the right side of your spread, bordered page right and full page right. But as I said, I'm just going with the pocket page style for both sides of my layout right now. I'm going to expand the left page layout, and all of my boxes are labeled with their position. So for the left page layout, I have top 1, top 2, middle 1, middle 2, middle 3. I have an option for middle alternate, which you're going to see here in a second, and then bottom 1 and bottom 2. So I usually start by filling in my template with photos. So that's what I'm going to do right now. All right, so I have my week 5 photos, and usually, not always, but usually, I try to add my photos in the spaces where they will fit the best. So for this one, I would add this into a 4x6 horizontal pocket page, and then for these I would add into the 3x4 style pocket pages. So I'm just going to go ahead and start adding my photos into my template. All right, so I have my photos kind of laid out here on my canvas. I'm not sure that I'm going to keep them in these positions, but I always like to just add them so I know where I'm going, like what I'm working with. So one thing about this week is that I don't have a lot of photos, but I do have quite a lot of stories. So this layout might actually change a little bit, but we're going to see how it goes. So first off, I'm going to take a look at the journaling cards that I'm going to be working with. And this week I decided to stretch myself a little bit and work with some of these Studio Calico pocket page cards that I got in their recent digital sale. So this particular card is from the Sunnyside digital kit, and I really love how it has that TV screen in there, and you're going to see in just a second how I'm going to edit this to better fit my layout. Right now I am just trying to transform it and scale it so that it fits into my pocket, and when it does, I right click on the layer, and then I am going to click create clipping mask, and now you're going to see how I'm going to edit that white space where the TV screen is. So I want to add a photo instead of the title of the TV that we were watching that week. So I want to add a photo into that white space. So I'm going to use the magic wand tool, which is on the left, and I'm going to click on the white area. So the magic wand tool allows you to select areas of light color. So I can literally just click on the white part and it will select all of the pixels that are white. And I am going to use the magic wand tool, right click on the area that I just selected and say layer via copy. So you're going to see that, that new layer pop up right there that I'm circling with my cursor right here. And the first thing that I'm going to do when I have that TV screen layer created is I'm going to erase the lines and the letters. So I'm just going to do that by painting all of those areas white. So I selected the paint tool, and now I am going to select my color to make sure that it's the same shade of white. I'm going to make my paintbrush a little bit bigger so it doesn't take as long, and then I'm just going to start painting over all of those letters and lines. Once my TV screen is completely white, I'm going to go ahead and add in my photo. So one of the things that we were watching this week was the Kids Baking Championship. It's one of my daughter's favorites. So I actually searched online and looked for a screenshot of the main image that they use, like the title image that they use when they're advertising the show. And I just saved that image to my desktop. Now I'm going to go find it over here in my week 5 folder. It's that large image with the cake with all the emojis on it. And I am going to add that into my canvas and use those little side arrows to scale it so that it will fit into my TV screen. Once I have that image scaled the way that I want it, I'm actually going to completely change that card. So what I'm going to do is make it into a 3x4 style card. So as you can see, I am clicking on all of the layers that I am using, and then I'm going to move them over to that bottom one space, and I'm going to transform all 3 of those layers all together so that it will fit into that 3x4 space. Then I'm going to click the check mark. I'm going to make sure that all of the 3 layers that I just created with that card are above the rectangle layer, and then I am going to say create clipping mask so I can make sure that the TV and the currently or now watching card is exactly where I want it to be on my base image. And then once I have that done, I'm going to zoom in here so that you can see a little bit better how I'm going to make this one card. As you can see, our card is looking a little bit odd because you can still see that base blue color. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to change that. So first I'm going to make sure that my original rectangle of the template is selected, and then I'm going to double click on it so I bring up the style panel for the layer. The color overlay style is what I want to use, so I'm going to navigate over to that, make sure it's selected, and then I'm going to use my paint dropper tool to select that same color of blue that the now watching card was. And once that's done, as you can see over here, I'm just going to rasterize the shape so that the blue color is now the color of that rectangle from my template, and I'm going to create a clipping mask with the pocket page card that I just edited. So since I had 2 stories about the TV we were watching that week, I actually decided to use the same card. So you're just going to see me highlight the pocket page card that we already made and copy and paste it to a new place within my layout. So I'm going to go to that top 2 rectangle, and I am going to add my pocket page to that particular card, and I'm going to add another one of the screen grabs that I got from the internet, and I'm going to add this photo of the Book of Boba Fett, and I'm actually going to change the colors of the now watching card to better match the color scheme that I want to add to my spread. So you're going to see me using the paint bucket tool and some colors from the kit, from the Sunnyside digital kit, to recolor this pocket page card. So I'm going to follow the same steps to make sure that the rectangle in the background is recolored to that pink color, and then I'm going to add my journaling. Honestly, it was at this point that I was starting to feel a little bit lost, but I went ahead and added a filler card to my title page corner, and then I'm just going to go ahead and pick some more cards that will make good spots for stories. So I'm using this large pink polka dot from the Sunnyside digital kit, and I am going to edit that one so it better fits my needs. So I'm going to use the paint bucket tool to erase the sentiment that was on that card, and then I'm going to add my own sentiment using some of the digital stamps from the Roman holiday ToothFairy brush set. I added brush and rinse with a star. All of that came from the Roman holiday ToothFairy collection, and I'm going to add my journaling. You'll see that I skipped over adding that middle 2 card because my computer cut out. So we're going to go ahead and move over to the middle 2 on the right side of the spread, where I'm adding this on the menu card. That's from the Go With The Flow kit by Studio Calico, and I'm going to edit the colors to match the color of that TV that we edited before. So I used a green color for that TV so that it better matched with the Boba Fett screen grab, and I am going to make the on the menu card that same green color just using my paint bucket tool. Fair warning that the paint bucket tool doesn't always work the way that you want to with small icons like that spoon and fork on the menu card. So I'm actually going to color over that in that gray color so that you can't see it. And I'm going to add one of my own digital stamps. This one says Yum, and that is from, I believe, the What I Ate stamp. Digital stamp set from Studio Calico, and I am going to add that on the top of the on the menu sentiment. And I believe I recolor that green to start off, but then I actually go back and I make it that copper color from the pink dot. You'll also see that I am going to recolor the Now Watching card in a second here. I felt like the green and the pink just didn't really go well together on that card, so I'm going to recolor the Now Watching into the copper color. I had a really hard time with the colors of this spread because I used a couple of different kits from Studio Calico, and I just felt like the colors were clashing a little bit. So when that happens and I'm kind of stuck in a place where I'm not sure where to go, I return back to the things that I really like about the spread. And for me, for this particular spread, that was the pink polka dot journaling spots. So I go ahead and copy and paste that onto the top 1 rectangle on my right-hand side of my layout. And I'm actually going to use one of the cards from the, what is it called? I believe the Oxford Hall kit to create my own digital stamp. I really loved this rose card that said Everyday Moments on it, so I am going to go ahead and drop that onto my spread, and then I'm going to use the rectangular marquee tool to just select the part of the card that I want. Once I have that rectangle selected, I'm going to right click on it and say Layer via Copy, which just leaves me with that tiny part of the card that I want to add onto my other card, and then I'm going to go over and click the blending option, and I'm going to say Blend Darker. So as you can see, when I zoom in here, you can't even see that white. You wouldn't even be able to tell that that was on a white background. So it blends in perfectly with the pink background of my polka dot, and that makes for a really great journaling card that's a little bit different from the other one, but still has the same basic shape. To write about my last story, I'm going to drag and drop one of the ledger cards from the Sunnyside Digitals, and I'm going to resize that to fit into the bottom 2 spot. It kind of matches with the other ledger card that has the title, The Struggle is Real. And I'm going to do the same thing on this card as I did on that one. So as you can see, it has a sentiment in gold already. And I am going to paint over that with my paint tool in that same ledger color. So as you can see, I'm doing that. And then I'm going to add my own digital stamp. So this digital stamp says, if I close my eyes, the mess will disappear. That is from the Starlight Chores digital stamp, and I am going to add that to the top of that card so that I can add some more journaling there. And I'm also going to recolor that digital stamp to the copper color just by double clicking on the digital stamp and fixing the color overlay in the layer styles panel. I actually didn't have as much journaling about that as I thought I would, so I'm actually going to add in the journaling, and then I'm going to edit the card a little bit so I can add 2 journaling pieces to that same card. So as you can see, I use the rectangular marquee tool to delineate the top half of that ledger paper, and then I'm going to copy it and move it down below so that I actually have two spaces that look like ledgers. I'm going to add journaling to the graph paper, and then in those spaces of the ledger paper that's supposed to be the top of the paper, I'm going to add another stamp. This one says, "It's a perfect day to stay home." That's from the Letters from Home digital stamp set. And again, using the rectangular marquee tool to select the parts of the stamp that I want to have, and then I'm going to erase the rest of the stamp. I took it from a 2-line digital stamp to a 1-line digital stamp. I'm going to use the rectangular marquee tool to select those dots and move them or copy and paste them to this other sentiment so that they kind of look the same, and recolor everything to that gold color. Once that's done, I'm going to go back to my title card. I realized that the black and white didn't really work with the colors that I had chosen for this spread, so I'm actually going to use this pink and bronze polka dot, which is from the Sunnyside Digitals, and then I'm going to use the Go with the Flow digital letter stamps to write out week 5. So I add all of those, I scale them all together so that they're all the same shape, and then I am just working on making that 5. I actually don't end up using those other digital letters for week. I spell that out with a different font. But as you can see, I am working on the 5 right now. They were kind of all different ways on the digital stamp, so I kind of had to finagle rotating them and getting them to all work together well. I'm not sure if that was something that was wrong with the digital stamp file or if that was how it was meant to be, but it did take a little bit of finagling to get them all aligned properly. And then I am going to make the 5 into a single layer so that I can recolor it as a single layer. So as you can see, I'm just going to take all of the individual letters, I'm going to merge the layers, and then I'm going to double click to make it a layer style, and then choose that bronze color as the color for my 5. And then I also added the week text using just a font that I had on my computer. So this is pretty much the end of the bones of my layout. I do end up going and re-changing some of the colors of the kit. So as you can see, that now watching with the Food Network, the Food Network channel picture, I'm recoloring the background from that gray color to white. I am going to leave it blue, but I did recolor the background to white just because I felt like more white space was what I wanted for this layout. I'm also going to go over to the TV with the Boba Fett and make it a white background, and I actually do that for the on the menu card as well. So once I finish all of those color changes, I'm going to save my layout, and I'm going to call week 5 done. I use Bookwrite for my bookmaking software, so I always save my files as a full page JPEG, and that is the end of my process video. Thank you so much for watching and following along. If you have any questions, please let me know down below, and have a wonderful day. Bye.